Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going into the world of early modern theater, and specifically those women who just insisted on being called royalty.
Ooh, royalty.
You've been wanting to learn more about plays from this time period,
Right.
and I think you are really going to love this one.
Okay.
We've got excerpts from a comedy of the Apocryphal Ladies,
Okay.
written in 1650. It is going to make you laugh and think.
Apocryphal's a great word, by the way.
It is.
It basically means something that's widely known, but probably not true.
Exactly. Like those rumors that everybody knows.
Right.
But nobody can actually confirm.
Yes.
So this play throws a spotlight on a whole bunch of these apocryphal ladies, all trying to snag a crown or a title.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, let's just say they're not exactly next in line for the throne.
I see. Okay.
Think of it like a reality show, but with way more corsets and even more drama.
Love it.
And what's so fascinating about this play is that it's not just poking fun at these individual women.
Right.
It's using their stories as a way to critique the whole concept of power and social climbing.
Yeah.
Things that are still super relevant today.
Right.
Totally. Let's start with the unfortunate Duchess. Now, she's actually legitimately married to the Duke, so her title's the real deal.
Right.
But her husband is, well, let's just say he makes Henry VIII look like a devoted husband.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Oh.
What has he been up to?
He's a mess. He's young, ambitious, and totally obsessed with this other woman called Lady Beauty.
Oh, no.
I know. The play actually draws some clever parallels to real-life power struggles within royal families. Especially during this period, you
Yes.
see these younger generations trying to push aside the older generation to grab power more quickly, and it rarely ends well.
Historically accurate.
And the way the play makes fun of this male ambition is so clever. The Duke is portrayed as this impulsive fool, always chasing after fleeting pleasures and neglecting his duties.
Yeah.
We're supposed to laugh at him, sure, but also see how much damage his actions cause.
Right. Like a cautionary tale.
It's like the play is saying, look, here's what happens when you let power go to your head. You end up making foolish choices and hurting the people around you.
And how do the people around him respond to this behavior?
Well, in the middle of all of this is the Duchess. And she's actually portrayed as this wise, capable woman
Okay.
who's gets happier when she's away from her husband and his chaotic court,
Oh, wow.
right? It really makes you think.
It does.
Does having a fancy title or position of power automatically equal happiness?
That is the question.
Right. Maybe true contentment comes from having freedom and peace of mind, even if it means walking away from a supposedly powerful situation.
Freedom from a bad marriage. Sounds good to me.
So the Duke runs off, leaving a power vacuum.
Oh.
And who waltzes right in? The comical Duchess, of course. She sees the opportunity and just grabs it. No hesitation.
Sounds fun.
She is a fun character. This is where the play's satirical bite really starts to show. The comical Duchess is obsessed with appearances. She clings to the title of Duchess, even though everyone knows it's completely meaningless at this point.
It's all about the title.
Yes. And to make things even funnier, she surrounds herself with these made-up red ochre knights and ladies.
Red Ochre Knights. What?
I know, right? It's like she's created this fantasy world where she's the queen bee, surrounded by all of these yes men, just feeding her ego.
That's a very visual image.
But the playwright is using her to poke fun at something much bigger, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. In a society built on these strict hierarchies, where your title determines your entire life,
Right.
people would go to extreme lengths to appear more powerful or important than they actually were.
Right?
The Red Ochre Knights and Ladies are like the ultimate symbol of that, this made-up group signifying this made-up status.
So the comical Duchess is all about appearances. But then we have the creating princess who takes the whole fake it till you make it idea to a whole new level.
Okay.
She marries a commoner, someone with absolutely zero royal blood,
Oh, wow.
and insists on treating him like a prince.
Okay, so she's like delusional.
Well, this is where the play gets really clever, because it starts to weave in some actual historical details. Back then, inheritance laws were incredibly specific.
Right.
Titles couldn't just be given out like party favors. They
Yeah.
were tied to land lineage and a whole system of legal rules.
Right.
But the creating princess is completely oblivious to all of that. She is spending a fortune trying to prop up this charade, showering her prince with gifts, fake titles, elaborate ceremonies.
Oh, my goodness. She's going all in.
It makes you wonder, what's really driving her? Is it pure ambition,
Yeah.
delusion, or maybe even some twisted form of love?
It's a good question.
I think it's a bit of everything. The playwright doesn't give us easy answers.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating is how much this character's story reveals about the anxieties of that era.
Oh, how so?
Well, you have this woman trying to force social structures to bend to her will, and it just creates this hilarious but also kind of tragic situation. You can't help but feel a little bit for her, right?
Right.
She's so determined to create this perfect world, this perfect life, that she's completely blind to the reality of the situation.
Sounds like some people we all know.
And it speaks to something universal.
What's that?
That human desire to control our own narratives, to shape our destinies even when the odds are stacked against us.
That's a very human thing to want to control your own fate.
It's like she's built this whole stage for her fake prince.
Right.
But what about the audience? The play doesn't just focus on these ladies. There are all of these other characters reacting to the chaos. Like those gossipy townsfolk.
Oh, yeah.
I was cracking up.
Yeah.
When they were dissecting the comical duchess's pregnancy.
Oh, that's a great point. The townsfolk are hilarious,
Right.
but they also serve a purpose. They represent that broader societal obsession with royalty, with lineage.
Right.
Remember, this play was written just a few decades after the English Civil War,
Right.
a time of immense political upheaval
Yeah.
and questions about who had the legitimate right to rule.
So even though the comical duchess is obviously faking it, those around her are still caught up in this idea of a royal heir.
Of a bloodline
Yeah.
that could solidify power.
Exactly. And that's what makes the play so clever. It's not just about these women's individual ambitions.
Yeah.
It's using those stories to expose the ways that power operates on a larger scale.
Yeah.
How it can be manipulated and perceived, even when it's built on shaky foundations.
Okay. But let's circle back to the guy who started all of this trouble, the Duke of Inconstancy.
Well, yeah.
We've been so focused on these ladies, but he's kind of the catalyst for everything, isn't he?
He is. And his name is so fitting, right? He's constantly changing his mind, abandoning his responsibilities, chasing after whatever catches his fancy.
Right.
In a way, he embodies that same shallowness and obsession with appearances that we see in the comical duchess, just in a masculine form.
But it's interesting, the play doesn't make him out to be a complete villain,
Right.
He's more like a spoiled child who's never learned to face consequences.
That's a great observation. He's surrounded by people who enable his behavior.
Yes.
Who are more than happy to take advantage of his inconstancy for their own gain.
It's like the play is asking us to consider the role of environment and influence. Are we solely responsible for our actions? Or do the people and systems around us shape who we become?
It's a question that could apply to all of the characters in this play, really.
Right.
They're all caught up in this web of social expectations, ambition, the desire for validation.
And it's through humor
Yeah.
that the play exposes the absurdity of it all. These characters are over the top, their schemes are ridiculous, but it's precisely that exaggeration that allows the audience to see the truth beneath the surface. We laugh at these characters, but we also recognize ourselves in them, in our own desires, to fit in, to achieve a certain status, to be recognized as someone important.
Speaking of recognition, let's talk about those two characters who pop up briefly.
Yeah.
They add a whole other layer to the story, Prince Shadow and the imaginary queen. They're almost like caricatures.
They are.
Yeah.
But their brief appearances are so brilliant. Prince Shadow is this mysterious figure who's never actually seen.
Right.
But everyone talks about him like he's some kind of legend.
Right. And the imaginary queen, she's this woman who basically declares herself a queen, even though she has no real power or authority.
Right.
And what's amazing is that people actually flock to her.
Yeah.
They want to believe in her so badly.
It speaks to that human need for connection, for belonging, for something to believe in.
Right.
We see it time and time again throughout history, right? People are drawn to charismatic figures, to grand narratives, even when those narratives are clearly fabricated.
And even though these characters are presented as almost comical, there's a bit of pathos there, too. You can't help but feel a little bit sorry for them, for their desperation, their delusion, their longing for something that ultimately doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It makes you think, are they villains or are they just victims of their own desires?
That's such an important question. And it's one that the play doesn't answer for us. It leaves us to grapple with those complexities, to consider the gray areas of human motivation and behavior.
And in the midst of all of this chaos, all of these schemes and pretenses, we have the Lady True Honor. She's like a breath of fresh air, right?
Yes, she is. She's the moral compass of the play. Sure. While everyone else is chasing after titles, wealth, and social status.
Right.
She values authenticity, integrity, inner worth. In a way, she embodies the playwright's message, right? That true honor comes not from external validation, but from living in alignment with your values.
It's like she's this constant reminder that there's a different way to live, a different way to define success. And even though she might be seen as an outsider, as someone who doesn't quite fit in with this world of ambition and social climbing, there's something incredibly admirable about her unwavering commitment to her principles.
Absolutely. And it's through her character that the play's satire becomes even sharper. Because she's the one who exposes the emptiness of the other character's pursuits.
Right.
She shows us that true happiness and fulfillment come from living a life of purpose and meaning, not from chasing after empty titles or fleeting forms of recognition.
It makes you wonder if any of the other characters see her and secretly wish they could be more like her. Do you think any of them envy her freedom, her inner peace?
That's a great question. And it's one that the playwright leaves open for us to ponder, but it certainly adds another layer of complexity to the play, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It suggests that even those who are caught up in the game of social climbing might recognize on some level the futility of it all.
And maybe that's the most powerful message of this play.
What's that?
That even in a world obsessed with appearances and social status, there's still a part of us that yearns for authenticity, for connection, for something real. And maybe, just maybe, by recognizing that yearning, we can start to make different choices, to break free from the cycles of ambition and validation seeking that keep us trapped in those systems.
That's a beautiful thought. And it really speaks to the enduring power of this play. It might be a comedy, it might be set in a specific historical context, but its message about the search for meaning and purpose resonates across centuries, reminding us that true happiness comes not from what we acquire, but from who we choose to be.
It's almost like the Lady True Honor is the voice of the playwright himself, saying, hey, there's more to life than this crazy chase for status. And, you know, it's funny because even though this play is from the 1650s, it feels incredibly relevant to today's world.
It really does. Think about it. We have social media influencers, reality TV stars, people building entire careers on projecting this image of wealth and success. It's like the Apocryphal Ladies have just evolved with the times.
Right. Instead of red ochre nights, we have followers and likes.
Exactly.
And maybe instead of obsessing over royal bloodlines, it's all about going viral or trending on Twitter.
The play is holding up this historical mirror to us, making us question what we truly value.
Right.
Are we any different from those townsfolk fawning over the comical duchess? Are we just as easily swayed by appearances, by the promise of status or belonging?
It's a bit unsettling, isn't it?
It is.
To think that some things haven't really changed all that much in over 350 years. But you know, one thing that struck me is how the play also shows the human cost of this constant striving. Right. I mean, think about the creating princess. She's pouring all of her energy, all of her resources into this elaborate fantasy.
And for what? She's driving herself to financial ruin, alienating those who genuinely care about her.
Right.
All for this illusion of power that will never truly be hers.
It's like the play is saying, beware of what you sacrifice in the pursuit of something that might not even bring you happiness. And it makes me wonder if that's part of why the Lady True Honor stands out so much.
Right.
She's not weighed down by those burdens, by that constant need to prove herself. She's free.
And in her freedom, she finds contentment. It's a powerful contrast to the other characters who are constantly striving, scheming, manipulating.
Yeah.
The play seems to suggest that true happiness comes from within, from aligning your actions with your values rather than seeking external validation.
So what does all of this mean for us today? I mean, we spent this whole deep dive unpacking this play. What are the takeaways? What can we actually do with these insights?
Well, for me, it's a reminder to be more discerning, more critical, to question the narratives we're being fed, whether it's through social media, the news, or even just our own social circles.
Yeah.
Who are the apocryphal ladies in our own lives?
Oh.
What are the empty titles and meaningless accolades we might be chasing after without even realizing it?
It's like the play is giving us this toolkit for navigating the world, right?
Yes.
It's saying, look, people are always going to try to manipulate you, to use you, to sell you something.
It's true.
But if you understand the game, if you see through the illusions, you can make choices that are aligned with your own values.
Exactly. And it's not about becoming cynical or distrusting everyone.
Yeah.
It's about developing that inner compass, that Lady True Honor within ourselves. That helps us discern what's genuinely valuable and what's just a shiny distraction.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into A Comedy of the Apocryphal Ladies, I hope it's left you with some things to ponder.
I think it has.
Maybe even a few laughs along the way.
Definitely.
And maybe a little bit more skeptical of anyone claiming to be royalty.
Right. You never know.
But the real treasure here is that this play encourages us to question everything, to look beyond the surface, to challenge assumptions, and ultimately to define what true honor means for ourselves. Thanks for joining us. Happy exploring.